This week I'm going to reflect on my last day of being a Year 11 tutor. So I've been a Year 11 tutor for one academic year. I was asked to share this tutor group with another member of staff in September when I started my GCP, and I agreed. My head of house has insisted on the monitoring of attendance and punctuality and behaviour points. He has admitted that the situation wasn't ideal really about halfway through the year for a GTP to take on a Year 11 tutor, which was also shared with another member of staff. However, I worked with the other member of staff to ensure that there was some consistency for the pupils, and they felt cared about. They felt as if we were taking an interest in them, and that we were monitoring not only their attendance and behaviour but their well-being as well. So when I came back, I'd been away at my Placement B school the week that they were leaving, so I wanted to ensure a smooth transition for them, because I wanted them to know that I really cared about them. So the strategies that I used were, I brought my iPod in for some music, and I bought some snacks and some sweets and some drinks, and I just addressed the room up for them because we had extended tutor time. I also designed them a card with a photo that I had previously taken of them for their yearbook, and I actually wrote them their own personalised poem and printed it off for them with all the names on. And I also printed a poem, If by Rudyard Kipling, which is my favourite poem, and I personally signed it for each and every one of them, and gave them out in a little ceremony, and I took my camera in and took photos of them, and I accompanied them to assembly. I'm just going to read you a little bit of theory from the Journal of Educational Research, and this is a study of pupil-teacher relationship by Stuart C. Tiedemann, which was published in May 1942, so it's quite old, but having read it I think it is still very relevant to today. So he says, the relationships between pupils and teachers, both in and out of the classroom, have often been emphasised as important factors in motivation. If pupils and teachers work in harmony, with a mutual feeling of understanding and cooperation, a friendly atmosphere will result, which is conducive to effective learning. Teachers that are aloof, unfriendly, and otherwise irritate and antagonise their pupils, destroy interest and incentives for learning, and promote instead resentment and unwholesome attitudes and personality disorders. To determine which teacher techniques, personality traits and behaviourisms most generally affect either a cooperative, friendly pupil-teacher relationship or an antagonistic, wholesome relationship, this study was undertaken. So I think that's basically, as I say, it's quite old now, but basically saying the same thing that I firmly believe in, that if you have a good relationship with pupils, if they see you as a role model, if you can inspire them, then that will in turn motivate them to learn. And I hope that's what I have done for their last year at high school at Hertford. So did it work? Yes, they were absolutely thrilled. Some of them were visibly moved, especially when I read out the poem that I'd written for them. And they thanked me and said that I had been the best and that I'd been supportive through their ups and downs of their Year 11s and any issues that they've had. They haven't had a problem speaking to me. And I was quite moved by some of the boys that basically have given me cause for concern during some of the year, and even they were very thankful to me. Could I have adapted what I did? The challenging behaviour from some of the boys, I wasn't quite sure how to deal with at first, because I could say these boys have presented some challenging behaviour all around school, which consequently I've had to deal with. So how did I do this? So I made sure that I included them. I forgot all past differences. I shook their hands and wished them good luck. Before we went into assembly, I did ensure that I spoke to them like adults, that good behaviour must be adhered to, because the senior management had sent a message out to say that anybody that decided not to behave well on the last day would be escorted basically from the premises, and that would be the end of their high school. So I explained this to them as adults and asked them to enjoy it, to make the best of it, which they all did, and I was very proud, very proud of them, pleased with my own achievements as their tutor. I felt like I was frightened of letting them down at the beginning of the process last September, but I don't think I have. I think we all kind of made the best of a not ideal situation. I built a good relationship with them, and hopefully they'll remember in years to come. What would I do differently? Well, over the course of the year, there's lots I would have done differently. I would have definitely have insisted on not splitting the tutor group, so that be able to monitor and have the consistency of one member of staff. However, I think, again, my colleague and I, we did the best that we could with the situation that we were presented with, and when they all left on the last day, they seemed happy and content, and we'd motivated them, and we'd inspired them, and really that's the best I could have hoped for.